dissimilar philosopher. Maeglin is notorious to both readers of the Silmarillion and High Elven lore as the betrayer of Gondolin. That it was his treachery, and while you're at it, tack onto that the fact that he's the son of an extremely bitter Sindar elf lord that happened to murder his mother, who was also a sister of the king, and the Sindar's wife, that eventually caused the fall of the character to betray the hidden city just in order to escape torture. Because Maeglin was mining in an area where he basically wasn't supposed to and ended up getting his ass captured by orcs. And that Morgoth also happened to appeal to his desire to get with his first cousin, who had not only regarded him as sus, but then wound up marrying a mortal who happened to just carry enough special favor with the king that he actually allowed an intermarriage between a mortal man and an elf. Notorious indeed. But my question is that, would he have turned out this way had his mother, Aredhel, survived Eowl's betrayal? I think it's first important to establish a precedent here, if there is one, before these events even started, with his parents. Simply put, Maeglin's example of parenthood basically sucked. His father was a Sindar extremist, isolationist bigot who dragged him along on expeditions to mine and learn from the Dwarves of the Blue Mountains, while his mother, who had been a rebellious Noldor princess, whom his father had somehow coaxed into marrying him, was now forbidden to leave their home forest, while also forbidden from seeing any of the Noldor in-laws. However, Maeglin also respected and loved his mother, while he loathed his father. Yes, it's implied that he may have been manipulative at certain points to get them to run away together, to go see Gondolin and the in-laws, yet none of that I don't think was done out of disrespect to her personally. And from what I can tell, it's what kids are prone to do anyway. Maeglin learned about his Noldor heritage from his mother, Aredhel, and they had both suffered under Eowl's care. Therefore, the two are not only bonded as mother and son, but as survivors as well of a traumatic experience. Aredhel was a changed person after her return to Gondolin. In my opinion, having a child mellowed her out quite a bit, now having a responsibility to someone other than herself, and whom she actually cared for, not a duty that was imposed upon her because of her station. And I think it's also more than implied that one of the reasons why she stayed so long with Eowl was because she wanted to take care of her son, and not just up and leave him. And had she survived Eowl's poison shot, Eowl still would have been executed, which makes me wonder, why is this not also a kinslaying? However, I also think that Aredhel knows her son better than anyone else, and would have picked up on his secret desire that he held towards his cousin Idriel, just by virtue of being a mom. And, having done so, more than likely would have privately tried to discourage this as well in her son, as well as his resentment towards Turin. Because Aredhel would see, and most likely point out to Maeglin, how much of his father he was becoming. Someone who Maeglin definitely didn't want to emulate, and which is one of the reasons why his story was so tragic. So, the question becomes, would his mother's influence help push Maeglin to stay on the light side, as it were? Would being called out by someone whom he knew and cared about, and suffered with him, carry enough weight to counter the weight of the inherited baggage that he got from his dad? If it would, then Maeglin might never have betrayed Gondolin just for the simple fact that his mother was still there. I get the impression that everyone else in Gondolin barely noticed him, save that he was the king's nephew. He may have held a they can go fuck off attitude like he did in the main timeline, in my opinion. But endangering his mother, I think, is something he would never do. If he was caught, he may in fact decide to choose death and torture over that. On the flip side of it though, if Maeglin proved to be unable to master his darker nature, he would probably end up becoming estranged from his mother, and Aredhel would eventually bring up her concerns to Turgon. I wonder actually if we would pull a Thingol and end up putting a secret watch on Maeglin while remembering the warning from Umel about internal betrayal being the fall of Gondolin. Either way, I do see Gondolin surviving and Morgoth never finding the city because Maeglin either got his shit together for the sake of his mother, or Turin would have had him arrested and his mining privileges revoked and his guild disbanded. Either way, let me know your own thoughts below. This is Miller Philosopher. Have a good day.